Hello everybody. I have some bad news for you today. I don't know how to say this. It's hard for me to talk about this, but yeah, I hope you guys understand the situation, and I hope I still have your support. I'm just kidding. I gotcha. Just kidding, guys. Welcome to another Q&A of your least favorite and most boring channel YouTuber. See, my English is still kind of broken after the 3DS video. Yeah. Thanks for joining, everybody. This is another edition of the Q&A. Welcome. Hope you enjoy this. Keep those donations coming. Buy my books, link in the description. I just released one a couple of weeks ago called The Revenant Army. It's an English translation. Well, the English translation is the localized version of the book that I wrote almost 9 years ago. In fact, my 10th anniversary as an author went by less than 2 weeks ago, about 10 days ago. And this new book, The Revenant Army, is available on Amazon, physical and digital. If you want to buy it and get your hands on it, you can buy it right now, the printed paperback version. Thank you, Kiss. And it's in the description. And the story, I think you're gonna like it because it's kind of JRPG-ish. And you guys are here for the JRPGs, right? So there you go. Description, everybody. So, I'm just gonna go straight into your questions. I have a few topics today. Usually I start with a long-ass monologue that spams for like 10 freaking minutes before I start answering your questions, but not today. 2 minutes into the stream, and the first question is, playing anything new? Yeah, no, new? What do you mean new? New as in it came out recently, a 2023 video game, or just new for me? How do you avoid burnout? There's a video I did on that, how to avoid RPG burnout. I think that video, when I uploaded it, it was around 3 years ago or so. It got pretty popular. Give it a shot. It's a 5-minute long video, and I share my tips on how to avoid RPG burnout. Hey Fritz, is there going to be a review today? No. It was going to be a review today, but I decided to save... I have 2 games that I'm currently playing, and I kind of want to review them properly on a video for my main channel. One of them coming up in a couple of days. Pretty sure some of you know what game I'm talking about, what JRPG I'm talking about. And the other one, I think I'm going to wait for one of those 5 RPGs I need to talk about videos, and it's going to be there. One that I mentioned in the 3DS ranking tier list video. All good gaming life. Hey Nashi, kind of rare to see you here. Thanks for joining. Are you playing Octopath 2? No, I haven't. I mean, I played it for several hours. I exploited the demo as much as I could. Put a lot of hours into it. Beat every single character's prologue, and then some more with my favorite protagonist, which was the girl Oswald. And Oswald is the only character that the game lets you play through 2 chapters, because they're fairly short. And then the Throne, those 2 are my favorite characters. I mean, Throne is a very interesting character. In my opinion, she didn't need the huge rack in her chest to be a very appealing character and one of my favorites. But, I'm not complaining. New as in games you finally got around to playing. Oh yeah, so I've been playing Ever Oasis. So where's my 3DS? It's probably in the back. Yes, that's a game that I started a long time ago, and I only put like 2-3 hours into it, and I just abandoned it. Which is the reason why I barely covered that game in my channel, but I went back to it a couple of weeks ago. And I don't even know how many hours I'm into it, because it's one of those freaking games that doesn't show you the timer, the play time. Not even when you load the file, not even when you save. No. I haven't found a way. It's probably on the 3DS activity log or something like that. But the game itself, the cartridge, doesn't tell you how many hours you put into the game. So I don't know how many hours I'm into it. But it's a fantastic game. It's a game for kids, but I mean it's very charming, kind of addictive. Strongly recommend it. It went up in price. It used to be kind of cheap. A couple of years ago, it was still like $20. Nowadays, it goes around 60 or 70. I don't know. It's insane, right? But yeah, pretty good game, guys. New Tales of ranking video soon. What are you talking about? I mean, if you're talking about a tier list, I already did one a long time ago. This was before Tales of Arise came out, but all the other Tales games released before Arise are there. It's a tier list video. And if you're talking about one of those worst to best, I don't see I mean, maybe one day. I don't see a lot of points since I made a pretty popular top 10, my favorite Tales games in the series. Again, this was before Arise ever existed. So, I don't know, one game, just one game is not enough for me to remake a video or make a brand new tier list. I mean, it'll be the exact same video plus one game. So, I don't know, man. Maybe when there's another Tales game. Hopefully we'll get another one next year, maybe. I don't know. Tales games are usually between 3 to 4 years. And the last one was in 2021, right? So it's 2023. Maybe it's gonna be until 2025. I don't know, I'm just speculating here. Did you emulate 3D games, 3DS games? Yes, I do. Well, Ever Races, I own it physical. But then half of the 3DS games that I played are emulation. I have my 3DS hacked, so yeah, there you go. Have you watched Arcane? No, I haven't. Is 3DS the best JRPG console? No way. Well, it's probably someone's favorite, right? Someone's best JRPG console, not to me. I love the 3DS with a passion. It is definitely my top 10 favorite JRPG consoles. I mean, consoles for video game consoles. JRPG consoles. Imagine a JRPG console that has nothing but RPGs, nothing but JRPGs. You can't play anything else except JRPGs. That'll be interesting. Consoles going by genres, they will probably fail hard. Like, what's the point, right? PS2 is my favorite video game system of all time. PS4 is a very close second. And then we got the SNES, the PSP, the PS Vita, PS3, all PlayStation consoles. I'm a big PlayStation guy. Yeah, 3DS is not even my top 5. Is there an R4 card that does 3DS? I think there is. I remember when I had a store, there were a lot of, I think they were called 3DS, no, R4 Gold, and they were for the 3DS. I never got one, and I never got one to work either, so I wouldn't know, man. I stopped using R4 cards a long time ago. I think it's much better to just hack your 3DS. Have you ever tried any of the Kaido Soft games? I don't know. Name one and maybe. Will you be doing a 3DS RPGs to get before the eShop closes? I pretty much already did that. It's called Ranking Every 3DS JRPG. It's a tier list that I just uploaded a couple of days ago. That's my video with a lot of JRPGs to get before the eShop closes. Can you remind me on your feelings on Dragon Force 1 specifically? Sure, I don't have a lot. I don't have a lot of strong feelings. In fact, I don't have strong feelings about it because I barely played it. That's why I rarely cover the game. I played it for a bit, just once in my entire life, and I thought it was a fantastic game. But take that with a grain of salt, coming from a guy who never even finished it, never even got far into it. And the reason is because this song's too loud. This is a fantastic song, by the way. My point is that there's no way I can play Sega Saturn games and Sega Saturn emulators. Well, the last time I tried one was like 3 years ago. Maybe I should try it again. Emulators were a piece of shit back then, at least in my computer. What's your favorite portable console of all time? I think I'm gonna go with the PSP. I will pick the Vita. But I think my love for the PS Vita comes mainly from the PS TV. The PS Vita that you plug into your TV. Okay, so it's kind of cheating. But then again, for a long period. The majority of my PSP JRPGs, I played them. Not the majority, about half of them I played it with a PSP and with a component cable plugged into my TV. Right? So I'm gonna go with a PS Vita. Thank you, Humor Gabon. Hey Matthew, did you watch the Final Fantasy 16 demo that was shown? What do you think of it? I didn't watch it. I'm not interested in Final Fantasy. I'm one of those guys. I am one of those guys that hate the fact that the series became hack and slash, not turn-based anymore. A lot of people consider that a decent evolution, that it's great, but I think it's crap. You know, you developers changed the soul of the series. But I've been saying that for years, man. So I'm sounding like a broken record. So I didn't watch it. I don't care about that game. If when it comes out or a couple of weeks before coming out, there's a demo, I'll probably play it for the sake of the channel and give my thoughts based on the demo. But I will not be getting that game. Do you have a link somewhere with your fan mail address? You're gonna have to send me an email. Send me an email and I'll send it to you. If you're interested in playing a fun gacha game, no, I'm not. So I'm not gonna finish reading your question. Sorry, man. I don't give a rat's ass about gacha games. Do you replay RPGs before you talk about them in top 10s or tier lists? Some of them, if I don't remember, or if I really want to capture specific footage, then yes. For example, for the tier list that I just did on the 3DS, I went back to Ever Oasis a couple of weeks before I shot the video. So I went back to it because I didn't remember a lot of things. And I did the same with multiple 3DS JRPGs. Stella Glow was one of them. Stella Glow, the strategy RPG. I had to play it a little bit more. I never finished it. Because honestly, it's a great game, Stella Glow, but it's not that great. And I think I've said this before. I'm going to digress for a bit. But for some reason, I have lost interest in portable gaming. If I can't play video games on my TV, I don't have a lot of interest in playing them on my small screen, probably because they hurt my eyes after a while. Well, I don't know, something happened to me that I haven't been able to explain myself. Or maybe it's because I got burned out from playing portable because I did that for so many years when I had the store. I don't know, guys, but yeah, to answer your question, yes, sometimes I do replay all games, not just JRPGs, before making any kind of video. Not all the time though, but sometimes. I missed a bunch of questions. Looking for good stories more from your end in future. My end? You want to know a story about my end? Anyway, that's an interesting topic. So this guy says, I used to be a huge fan of JRPGs, but as I've gotten older, I feel that the cliches and JRPG tropes to make most games feel the same. Yeah, I feel the same way. What JRPGs are most original in terms of avoiding cliches? Well, it's kind of hard because art, any form of art, is influenced by another form of art and so on. So that's why a lot of things nowadays feel like they're a repetition. Like in terms of Fight Club terms, a copy of a copy of a copy. Everything's a copy of a copy of a copy. Everything is highly influenced by something that was highly influenced by something, and so on. So when we watch a lot of movies of the same genre, or in this case, we play a lot of games of the same genre, we start seeing the same cliches, the same tropes, the same gameplay mechanics, the same everything over and over and over again. And for a guy like me, who loves the genre and have been an addict to the genres for the past 20 years or so, I get you. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like, to repeat the same story over and over again, to like, man, this character is behaving the exact same way as this other, and this scene is the same. This is the classic scene, the classic this, I've seen this 10,000 times already. So it's a bit of a pain in the ass to just sit there and enjoy it, All we can do is pretend to enjoy it or skip it, Or we can change our perspective and say, okay, this is part of the genre that I love. So even if it's boring and if it's tiresome and we've seen it 1,000 times, best we can do is just see through it, and just click the button to skip the dialogue or to advance and then pretend to read it. I don't know. There's many ways to deal with cliches and tropes, but what I'm trying to say is that this is how the genre is. It's just not gonna change. It's gonna be like that forever, probably. Newer cliches are being made as well. There's cliches I've seen in JRPGs that weren't there in the 90s humor or the 90s stuff. They're more like today. For example, a lot of let's take Persona for example. There's a lot of psychological themes in there and how people deal with their other selves, with the multiple personalities, not as in the illness, just like as an example, how we react differently to different situations and how we all have a dark side. That was very, very rarely seen in JRPGs from the early 90s or the alleged golden age, right? But nowadays, they're pretty common. We see all these characters deal with these situations, and we're like, man, this has been done to death already, and stuff like that. And they're timeless, not timeless as in positive, but there are timeless cliches that have been there since the 70s or the 80s, and they're still being done today. And a lot of people love them. Me, I'm a little bit more like you. I'm like, oh man, this fucking scene again, or this situation again, or this joke, or this humor, or for example, one of the most classic, super overly done cliches and tropes in JRPGs is the awkward couple trope. Okay, and you know what? I'm playing Trails to Asher review coming up in a couple of days, guys. The remaster. And you got Lloyd and Ellie, right? And they're that fucking couple, with that fucking relationship. Like, they're too shy to admit they like each other, they're onto each other, or they're too, uncomfortable when somebody makes a joke or teases them. They're like, no, it's not like that, it's not like that. We're fucking tired of that. I'm fucking tired of that. But I still pull through, because it's just something that doesn't really ruin my experience. So going back to your question, asking about JRPGs that don't have that many cliches like that, it's kind of hard to find them. I will recommend to you to watch a really old video that I did called Top 10 Best JRPG Stories. I think a lot of the JRPGs that I put in there have those types of cliches and tropes really watered down, really... They're barely there. You will still find a lot of those cliches, but not as many or as often as in other JRPGs. So that's my recommendation. Go watch that video. It's really old. It's kind of dated. That video needs a remake. And that's another one that I did called Top 10 Best Modern JRPG Stories. Some games in that video are kind of tropey and cliche, but it's worth it. It's worth putting through those cliches and tropes to enjoy the highlights of the story. It's worth putting that, because you get rewarded with a fantastic story and great character development. But yeah, cliches and tropes are not gonna go away anytime soon. They will be there probably forever, even if in the best stories ever written, they will prevail, unfortunately. I wish companies would use them less, or I don't know. It's something that's just not gonna go away. I just realized the autocorrect. What do you mean by that? Thank you, by the way, Nate Esquega. Well, sorry about the questions, guys. Any chance of doing a ranking every NES tier list? Problem with the NES, my problem with NES, this is a question, I'm gonna turn this into a clip for my second channel, probably. So, why I don't play a lot of NES JRPGs, or why there's barely any videos out there. I think I've done like 2 videos on NES JRPGs out there. So, to answer that question, when are you guys getting like a ranking or a tier list or something like that? I don't think it's gonna be possible. I can try and do it for you, but I grew up with the NES, but I grew up with NES games like, the platformers or shoot 'em ups or puzzle games or whatever. You know, I didn't even know what an RPG was. The closest experience I had with an RPG was Zelda 2. Well, the first 2 Zelda games. And I never finished any of them because back then I was a little kid. I was a 7-year-old kid, 5-year-old kid. I didn't know English. And there was no way to play these games in Spanish. So we never got any far in the games. And we had to rely on walkthroughs, or there weren't any walkthroughs online. Internet didn't exist, or wasn't, available for regular people like you and me back then in the 80s and early 90s. So we had to resort to magazines or to friends and, hey, what are you doing here? What are you doing in this part? How do you beat this guy? Or they're telling me to go somewhere, but I can't understand. I don't know English, right? So I didn't play any RPGs at all. I didn't know they existed back then. And if I had known they existed back then, I was a little kid, I wouldn't have cared about them precisely because they were in English. And even if they were in Spanish, I probably wouldn't have cared about them. I mean, who plays... I mean, I'm pretty sure there's kids out there who play JRPGs when they're 7 years old. I don't know, I probably, knowing myself, I probably wouldn't have found that interesting. That genre interesting. Maybe when I was 12, which is when I played my first RPG, but when I was 12 years old, it was 1997. Bunch of other systems were out. RPGs were mainstream on the PlayStation 1. So I was kind of more into those consoles. I was still on the SNES. Everybody had a PlayStation 1 and I was still playing the SNES. But I still didn't know what an RPG was. So my point is that I didn't grow up with NES JRPGs, so I have no nostalgia for them. I have a lot of appreciation, but not personal appreciation. It's not that I don't care about them. I mean, NES JRPGs laid the basis for any other JRPG in existence out there, right? They were the first ones, Dragon Warrior, Final Fantasy, or Master System JRPGs like Phantasy Star or Ys, stuff like that. So maybe if I had grown up with them, I would have appreciated them more, but I just didn't. And for me personally, it's hard to go back to them. I've tried going back to them for many years, since I was like 22 years old, and I've never been able to finish a single one of them, because the majority of them, in my opinion, it may not be the same case for you guys, but in my opinion, they're kind of outdated. Very, very dated, and playing them is just not as fun as they may have been back then. I think most of the people who can enjoy NES JRPGs nowadays is because they probably played them back then, or because they just love the heck out of NES gameplay mechanics and graphics and stuff like that. But so yeah, don't expect anytime soon a ranking or a tier list on NES JRPGs, but no promises, but I can try. Radioactive Cosmic Rains. I have some news about CyberConnect. He says CyberConnect just announced a new .hack game project is in development. Namco reviving .hack and Bats and Kaitos. Well, Bats and Kaitos, yeah, we're getting the remasters this summer. Hack, I didn't know anything. That's great news. Hopefully they'll do some kind of remaster of the first 4 games. Infection, Mutation, and whatever. That's what people want. That's what I want. And then, if they make a brand new hack game, that'll be bonkers. Bonkers, man. That's great news. Sorry. How many people from India do watch you? Any estimate? I just want to know. Probably around 1%. The thing is that for my 100% of viewers, 35, usually it's 30 something. It changes depending on every month. But it's like 35% from the US, from the USA. Holy shit. So that's my biggest audience by far. Because that would be my number 1 audience. My number 2 audience is usually Brazil, believe it or not. And it's like not even 10%. It's like 6%. So imagine, we got 35% from the US versus 6% of Brazil. That's how much of a difference there is between my number 1 audience and my number 2 audience. And then we got countries like Canada, the Philippines, Indonesia, the UK, Germany, Mexico, India, but all of them are like 4%, 3%, 2, 1, and so on. I don't have a lot of viewers from India. I think I've seen from a couple of comments that I used to read. Ooh, back in the day, 2018. I remember Indians were saying that they couldn't understand my accent. They found it hard to understand. I don't know why. I guess it's different, right? You know, I've talked to a lot of people in real life from all over the world in English, and I do have a few examples of people. I mean, I can't judge an entire country accent just because of that one person, but I did find it hard to understand what some people were saying. I met this guy from China, and his English was kind of weird. I met two Chinese people. The girl, her English accent was kind of weird, and I couldn't understand certain things she was saying. So you get the idea. I don't know. Maybe that's one of the reasons why. But anyway, I watched a lot of your videos when I was in the Philippines. Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm glad to know that you caught up with them. You got people from Canada here, Brazil. There you go. Please, a remake of the original 4 hack games. Yeah, a remake will be better than a remaster because I think those games have kind of outdated mechanics, you know. I mean, the first .hack games, when I first played them, I had a blast. But even then, I didn't love them. I was like, man, these games are great. I'm enjoying them a lot, but the battle mechanics are kind of stiff. Repetitive combos, you know, or barely any combos, you know, the fighting. It's just the combat itself in the first .hack games. It's like, man, it's kind of dated. It's just, it feels like a PS1 game instead of a PS2 game, action game, you know what I mean? So yeah, I vote for a remake, not a remaster. But if we get a remaster, which is probably what's gonna happen, no complaints here. Have you watched the latest interview with Masato Kato and Yoshinori Mitsuda on Chrono Cross? It's pretty recent and insightful. No, I haven't. And how do I look for it? Do I just type Masato Kato and Yoshinori Mitsuda interview? I mean, that's awesome, man. Definitely going to watch that interview. What's the most anticipated JRPG that you look forward to the most this year? Probably Trails from the Reverie. I mean, I think I'm looking forward more to the Fate Extra remake and to East 10, but we have no release date yet. So the one that I'm looking forward to the most is Trails into Reverie. The Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie. That's my most anticipated JRPG of this year. Coming out on summer, I think. My friend actually ordered your physical books. Awesome. Thank you, CB Ross. Nice to see you here, man. What is the first JRPG you played? It's a little game on the Game Boy called Final Fantasy Legend 2. The second one. My friend had it. I've told this story a lot of times, but just to be real quick, my friend in middle school had the game and he was bragging about it one day, saying, I have never played anything like this. This is something out of this fucking planet, man, play it. So I borrowed the game and I fell in love with it. That was my first RPG, but back then when I played that game, I didn't know what an RPG was. All I know is that the battles were being played in turns, and you got these random encounters, and you got these stats and job system and whatever, and I was like, what the hell? There's nothing like it, right? For us, in Mexico. So it wasn't until like 4 years later when I finally got my hands on Super Mario RPG, and that's when I kind of learned what an RPG was, and I was like, oh, so Final Fantasy Legend 2 is an RPG, that's the genre. The rest is history. Are you gonna put your books on Audible? No, man, I mean, I have an accent, you know, and I know a lot of you appreciate the accent and like it and understand it, but going back to my point from 5 minutes ago, just people are not gonna buy them because they're gonna say, oh man, this guy has a weird accent. And do you really want me to read the dialogues of the girls, of any female character, or the little kids? You know, when I have these freaking boys, no audible versions, no audio books from me, unless I get some decent voice actors, but I will have to pay them. And man, I'm a starving artist. I'm a starving author. I barely sell any books, so yeah, it's not a good idea. I don't care about Final Fantasy 16. I don't care about Final Fantasy at all, the entire series. But if there's a demo of Final Fantasy 16 one day, I'll probably play it and make a first impressions video, and that's probably as far as I'm gonna go. Have you heard of the game Mato Anomalies? I was just watching YouTube before making this stream like about 2 hours ago, and I saw a trailer I didn't watch the video, but I saw it there, like Mato Anomalies this, and I was like, man, what the hell is this? That's an upcoming game, right? Or is it some kind of remaster? I know there's another one that's a point-and-click adventure. I forget the name, and I watched the trailer yesterday, and that's another port. It's a point-and-click. I thought it was going to be an RPG, but it wasn't. Final Fantasy Remake Part 2. Sorry, man. Not interested. Which book would you consider a good introduction to your writing? Holy crap. I think you might want to go with the newest, with the latest one, which is called The Revenant Army. Yeah, I don't think the writing... I mean, that was a book originally that I originally wrote in Spanish, and I translated the book to English a couple of months ago, and I published the book 2 weeks ago. So I want to believe that the English is better than the one I had 8 years ago or 9 years ago when I published Terra Gaiden, which was originally written in English. So I don't know. I recommend The Revenant Army. It's a good introduction to my writing, and it's easy to get into. Other books that I've written are very dark, with gore and philosophical and psychological stuff in there. They aren't JRPG influenced at all, so they might be tough to get into. I recommend The Revenant Army because that's basically influenced by Suikoden and Fire Emblem, so there you go. Link in the description, by the way. Do you have any of those portable emulation Chinese devices that you play on? No, I used to have one. I had one when I was a little kid, and with those weird like 50 games or 100 games in them. It was pretty fun. I don't know what the hell happened to that little machine. You are a damn good author. Oh man, thanks for that. I don't get that a lot because of the English, you know. But yeah. Thanks, man. Running to 100,000 subs, man. Oh, brother from Mexico. I've never been there, man. I've never been to the north. I think I was in Culiacan when I was a little kid, and that's the only city in the north that I visited. I live in Guadalajara. But anyway, yeah, on to 100,000. Hopefully, I'll get to that number this year, and I'll get my little symbol next to my name. Erick RPG and the symbol, you know. And I think they send you something, some kind of a, I don't know what the hell it is, some kind of like a frame, something like an award for reaching 100,000 subs. I'll show it. Top 10 real-time strategy JRPGs video. It's not a bad idea, but unfortunately there aren't a lot of them. I don't know if I can find 10 without Girl Lancer taking like 4 spots in that video. Yeah, there's gotta be more, right? That's a good idea for a video. Real-time strategy JRPGs. Black Legend. No, I've never heard of that game. That's a strategy game? Never heard of it. Examples of good dating sims inside JRPGs. Well, the best example is Persona and the Trails of Cold Steel series. There was barely any dating in the previous arcs, was there? Like in Crossbell or Sky. Cold Steel is the only one that introduced like a real dating simulation. It's optional. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. But yeah, Persona and Cold Steel are some of the best. And then there are some hidden gems that are coming to my mind right now. One of them is called Thousand Arms on the PlayStation 1. That's an obscure game. It's kind of expensive, and it's just it's kind of rare, you know. And it didn't get a digital release. A lot of PS1 JRPGs got a digital release on PS3 and PS Vita, right? Not this one, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I mean that's one with a fun dating simulation. You got Sakura Wars 1 and 2. Not 1 and 2, I mean Sakura Wars on the Wii, also on PS2, and then the new Sakura Wars on the PS4. Well, not that new anymore, it's been like 4 years since it came out. 4 years, actually. It's not that new anymore, but yeah, Sakura Wars on the PS4. Is that Shantae music I hear? Yes, it is. The town theme from Half Genie Hero. What is your opinion on what Yoshi P said about the term JRPG? I don't know, man. Don't know what you're talking about. Remind me who Yoshi P is. Isn't that guy? I don't remember who Yoshi. I know he's a big shot in the industry, but I don't remember who Yoshi P is. Forgive my ignorance. And what the hell did he say? He or she? I heard Mugen Souls is coming to modern consoles. Seriously, that's a terrible game. Well, it's not terrible, but it is kind of bad. It's not that bad. It's honestly not that bad, but it's kind of bad. It's one of the worst on the PS3, man. That's coming to... Holy shit. And that's one game that, I mean, there's nothing to fix. Like, there's nothing that you can say, oh, this game was bad because of the battle system, or because of this, or because of that, you know? No, it's just a bad idea. Alright. Yoshi P is the Final Fantasy XIV director. Oh, no wonder why I don't even know that guy. I don't play MMORPGs. Apparently the term JRPG is racist. Why am I not surprised? Man, if he really said that, what a fucking asshole, man. Fucking cancel culture motherfucker. It's racist. We're giving them credit, a lot of fucking credit, praising them, praising their work, and it's racist. Man, this fucking world, man, is going straight to shit. Man, god damn it, you know. The things people do to keep people angry and divided, attacking each other in all the time. Everything, every fucking thing is racist and homophobic and sexist and offensive now. Every fucking thing you can imagine. Also, people can fight each other and hate each other and stop paying attention to what these motherfuckers are doing. You know, the term woke is completely misused. It should be used for people that wake up and realize how this 1% in the world is fucking with us, fucking with our heads, and creating these fucking dramas, you know, just to keep us fighting each other, you know. What's the best way to conquer people? Dividing them. Divide people, divide and conquer, you know. That's a guaranteed win in there. JRPGs are racist. You gotta be fucking kidding me. That's the worst fucking thing I've heard in my fucking life, man. Thank you, Mauricio. Did you play the Ni no Kuni games? Yes, I did. I didn't like the first one. I respect the game. I respect what the developers were trying to do, and I thought it was beautiful that Studio Ghibli was involved. But I couldn't get into the game because it's basically like Pokemon, and I don't know, I just didn't find the battle system appealing. I liked way more Ni no Kuni 2, The Revenant Kingdom, but eventually I got near the end and I ditched it. Honestly, it wasn't that great. No. It was that great of a game, was that good of a game, but it just wasn't my biggest cup of tea. Ni no Kuni 2. I thought I loved the game, you know, when I first played it, you know, but I never finished it and never went back to it. It was one of those games where I'm like, okay, you know, I'm gonna ditch it right now because they were forcing me to do a lot of side content, like recruit a lot of NPCs and improve my castle. And it was a pain in the ass to do. It wasn't as fun as in Suikoden, for example. And that was required to access the final dungeon. And I was like, man, this is like Torna, like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna, again, the Golden Country. And man, fuck no. So I promised myself that I would go back to Ni no Kuni 2 one day, and it's been like 3 freaking years and I haven't gone back to it, so yeah. Not really a fan of Ni no Kuni. Did you try Chained Echoes yet? Nope. I just bought your new book on Amazon. Thanks, Ainashi. Hope you enjoy it. If you like Suikoden and Fire Emblem, stuff like that, you will. Or if you enjoyed Terra Gaiden, you probably like this one. It's a solid read, and there's a plot twist at the beginning of the book. I got some criticism when I first published the book. I was like, people were saying, man, why the fuck did you do this at the beginning? You know, man, you fucking heartless, cold motherfucker. You know, but I really wanted to kill that cliche. Which cliche I'm talking about? Buy the book, guys. Or you can read the first pages for free, though I don't in Amazon. Though I don't know if you will be able to get to the plot twist. Or if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. But yeah, it's a plot twist, and I got a lot of positive feedback because of that, but also a lot of negative feedback. I was like, what? Why? What's wrong with you? I made a video, you know, not to go back to that stupid topic, Yoshi P or whatever that asshole is. I made a video earlier it was last year. It was like 6 or 7 months ago, I think. It was called Should the J Be Removed in RPGs? And my point was that nowadays there's so many indie RPGs inspired by JRPGs. A lot of people are calling Chained Echoes is a good example. A lot of people are calling it a JRPG, even though it's technically not. It's influenced by Japanese role-playing games. Yes, it is, but it's not a Japanese game, right? So that was my point of view. It was totally different, you know, than this racist bullshit. I mean, fucking world, man. People are gonna end up killing each other over stupid stuff like this. Anyway, fuck that guy and fuck the executives that told them or paid them to say bullshit like that online. So now what? Freaking Americans and Europeans are gonna say that Western or the WRPGs is racist, that they shouldn't be called WRPGs? I mean, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Did you ever read Berserk? No, I didn't read it. I watched the anime and the movies. Everything visual on Berserk, except the video games. I've watched it. I'm a big fan, but I'm not really a manga guy. I don't care about, you know. Anyway. Oh, thank you for making that correction. YouTubers, you mean woke and cancel culture YouTubers, are saying that it's probably racist to call them JRPGs, not exactly Yoshi P himself. Oh, thank you. Sorry. Apologies to Yoshi P then. Shouldn't have called you an asshole. Thoughts on the Mario movie? Didn't watch it. I went to a mall last night and the movie theater was empty. There was barely any people in there, and I watched all the way in the back the Mario movie poster, but I didn't know if it was available. If it is, I haven't watched it, and I'm probably not gonna watch it unless it's one day free on Netflix or Amazon Prime or stuff like that. Oh man, am I seriously the only human being in the planet that liked Berserk 3D? I didn't love it. I didn't go crazy for the art style, you know. I think I prefer the original 2D art style from the original anime. But I dug the 3D, you know, new seasons, right? I don't know, it got a lot of shit, but I liked it. I liked it, you know. But I haven't met a single person in my entire life that also liked it. Oh, there you go! Sweet life of Dio Brando. Thanks, man. You're the first person I ever met that liked the 3D Berserk. I don't know, it's like cel-shaded graphics, right? And I'm a sucker for that, man. How do you feel about Square Enix? I can't miss a question about Square Enix. A chance to shit in the company. Man, I don't get review codes from Square Enix, probably because of this. Situation with saying Forspoken was lackluster and the sales aren't good. I think I watched a trailer of Forspoken and that's it. In fact, you know, I didn't even know the game was going to be released on January, and when it did, I was like, oh, it's already been released? Oh, nice. I'm trying to say that I don't give a shit about that game. Oh, okay, the Mario movie is on April. Oh, gotcha. Can you make a top 10 JRPGs with dark fan theories? Dark fan theories? That's not something that I will do. I mean, why would you want to watch that? Are you excited for Dragon Quest 12 or the Dragon Quest 3 remaster, a remake? I guess I'm excited for both, but I won't be excited whatsoever at all if Dragon Quest 12 turns out to be an action RPG. They did it to Final Fantasy, and we've been fearing that since Dragon Quest 9 came out. Like, man, Square Enix did this with Final Fantasy, so what? They're gonna turn Dragon Quest into an action RPG too? Into fucking hack and slash? I love hack and slash, but I just don't... You know how I feel about these things. So, 9 was turn-based, 10 was an MMORPG, and 11 was a turn-based RPG, right? So when 11 came out, we were like, yes, they didn't make this an action game. Hopefully 12 will remain turn-based. Hey Erick, since you played and enjoy Yakuza Like a Dragon and Judgment, speaking about that, we're listening to music from Judgment. Do you plan on playing some of the older Yakuza games? I don't know, maybe. But the problem with the older Yakuza games is that they're all connected. They're all a sequel to one another. So you gotta start with the first one, right? Isn't the first one going to be remade soon? Right? I don't know, I think I heard something about that. I think it's going to be remade soon, so maybe I'll give that one a try. And that'll be the one that gets me into the series, I don't know. Which JRPG you consider they just needed more budget to be a masterpiece? Wow, that's a good one. I think not exactly budget, but more like more testing, and that will be Monarch. Monarch had everything to be a freaking masterpiece. But I don't know how many people tested that game, probably a bunch. And I don't know what they saw in the game that made them think it was good to be released. It was good for it to be released. It was good enough. And it was great. I was like, oh yeah, sure, the game's alright the way it is right now, so fucking release it. It has some graphical issues, some screen tearing, some difficulty spikes. No, forget about difficulty spikes. The difficulty was broken in that game. They added a casual mode to laugh in your face because there's nothing casual about that game. It's a brutally, stupidly broken JRPG. And the lack of enemy variety, it's a game with a lot of problems. Another one that comes to mind was Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna. I've bitched about that game a lot because it just had everything to be a masterpiece. But the community level bullshit, it was like, man, why did you have to make this mandatory? It's just no. And you don't force 10 million fetch quests to players to finish your game. The hell? Other games like Shining Resonance Refrain, same case, but they had a decent budget, I think. I can't think of one JRPG right now. I can think of one indie RPG that I ditched recently, and it had everything, maybe not to be a masterpiece, but with more budget, it could have been much better. And it's called Souls of Chronos. Originally released on Steam, and about a month ago, it came out on consoles. That's a game with great ideas, but you can clearly see that the budget was really low, and had it had more budget, more money, it would have been a much, much better RPG. I think it's a Chinese RPG. Oh, sorry, is that racist? Is Diofield Chronicle bad? Fuck no, man, that's an excellent game. But you know what? This guy's saying it's horrible. I strongly disagree. I think it's an amazing game. But the point remains the same. I think if the Diofield Chronicle had more budget, more money, it would have been much better, and it probably would have appealed to a bigger audience, and it would have gotten better reviews. That's a good example, to answer your question. That's a great one. But I think the game, even with the low budget it had, was amazing for me personally. It's no masterpiece, but maybe it could have been a masterpiece with more budget. Let's leave it at that. Yum, oh man, you're not Razon, you're Yum Game. Thanks, man. You were waiting for the 3DS tier list. I thought about you when I was making the video. I was like, man, this guy's gonna love it. What is your best top 10? What do you mean best top 10? On 3DS, or what do you mean? Metal Jesus? Man, you're not Metal Jesus. You might be thinking of Yakuza Ishin, which recently got released. Oh, it was already out? But that one is a spin-off, not really part of the main story. It's also definitely not a remake, more of a remaster. Gotcha. Thanks. Okay, so... Okay. Because I did play the original Yakuza game on the PlayStation 2. Wow, a long time ago. I remember I went to this store and they have both Yakuza games 1 and 2 for like dirt cheap, sealed. And I think I paid like $10 for both. $10 or $20 for both of them. Right? So I resold them. I only played the first one because I want to know what the hell. Yeah, I broke the seal just to test the freaking game. And I played it and I was like, this is like the Japanese Grand Theft Auto. Something like that. But it was different. I did notice that it was different. It was trying to do something different than Grand Theft Auto. And it was more like Shenmue. You guys played Shenmue? So I played that. I played Shenmue a long time ago too. And I just couldn't get into it. You know, these open world games where you can do whatever you want. I mean, they're fine. But I don't know. I couldn't get into the first Yakuza. I never played the second one. So I sold these games and I never got them again. But now that I've fallen in love with Judgment and I'm actually playing Lost Judgment, the sequel, and you bet your ass I'll review it. Not in a review, more like in a top 5 or something. Maybe I can give the Yakuza series a try, a chance, a second chance, and maybe I'll be able to get into it. Have you ever used cheats? Action replay, game shark codes? Nope. Never used anything like that. I think what I did was one, and I made a video on my second channel, the one time that I cheated. What I did was, it's a long story short, I was playing Spectral Souls and I was about halfway through and my PSP fell, I dropped it accidentally and the file got deleted, so I really wanted to finish the game, so I wasn't going to, it's a grind fest, I wasn't going to grind again. So what I did was download a ROM with all characters at level 99 and that's how I beat it. That's the only time I've ever used something like that. Yes, your best top 10 3DS RPGs. Well, there's a couple of videos. I mean, you probably saw in my... Thank you, Humor Gabon, once again. You probably watched my tier list video from 2 days ago, and you noticed that in the S and on the S and the A tiers, there were a total of 12 games in there. So you could pretty much figure my top 10 in there. I don't have them in order. I mean, I can tell you that Radiant Historia, Apocalypse, and the Devil Survivor games are my top 4, but I've never been able to decide in what order, which of those 4 games I like more. Probably Devil Survivor will be my number 1, but it's just Radiant Historia and Apocalypse are so damn good, man. It's impossible. That's the reason why I've never done a top 10. I did top 10 best 3DS JRPGs, but the no ports and remix version and the ports and remix version. Right, but together, like an ultimate top 10, that's... damn. Someday, it's gonna have to wait until next year, because I just released the tier list and 2 days ago, and I did a top 50 about 10 months ago. It was around April, I think, or May last year. So we're good on 3DS. I'm good on 3DS right now. You had a video about JRPGs I regret recommending, and your friend Oscar was there too, but now I can't find it. What the hell are you talking about? Oscar and I, we never did a video called JRPGs we regret recommending. We never... You're probably confused. Maybe I said that I was interested in doing such a video, but we never did. I mean, Oscar is no fan of JRPGs, so... the hell? No. You know any JRPG series similar to Trails? It's not exactly similar. Only Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 3 are kinda similar, but Persona might be what you're looking for. They share a lot of gameplay mechanics, similar gameplay mechanics like dating sim, turn-based combat, tons of characters. Well, Persona doesn't have a lot of characters, but Trails has a lot. But not really, I don't think anything's like Trails. That's why this series got so popular, because it's kind of unique in its own way. Would you recommend someone start with Persona 3 Portable or FES? Well, Portable is one of the best versions of the game because you can give orders to your party members. You can control them, and on FES you can't. You just control your main character, and you can give not exactly orders. But you can kind of alter the behavior of your party members, but you cannot directly control them with the controller. They act on their own, and sometimes they fuck up. So, I don't know, but yeah, any version of that game is a must play, man. For beginners or for anybody, it's a masterpiece. Well, the one thing that the portable version has is that the town exploration was reduced to menus. In the FES, the PS2 version, you could walk around school with your character, and on the portable version, it's all in menus. I don't know. Play either, man. Showing your kids Chrono Cross for 7 and 8. Oh man, aren't they too young for a game like that? The game doesn't have any violence. But it has some messed up stuff and some deep philosophical stuff. They're probably gonna get bored. Can you guide on how to write good in terms of script and characters? How did you learn? You might be asking the wrong guy, but because of my English, it's not the best out there. I've been writing stories since I was like 15 years old, so I guess I got decent over time, maybe. And I also don't follow the advice. Maybe I should follow the advice of other fellow writers or the famous ones. I've seen a lot of advice from Stephen King or George Martin or Anne Rice, rest in peace. But I don't know, man. I just sit down and write however I want, and sometimes the product ends up being criticized. I don't care, as long as I feel good about it. As fun as I'm writing something that I am enjoying, and there you go. But I'm the worst person to give advice. It's as if you were asking, I don't know. I'm nothing compared to David Lynch, but if people were asking David Lynch how to make movies, he's my favorite movie director, but his movies are like no other. And I'm not saying my books are wow, they're like no other, super unique and fucking awesome, I'm not saying that. They are. But all I'm saying is that I just wouldn't know how to give someone advice, because I have this different style that might be perceived as bad or mediocre by a lot of people, while others may think of it as a masterpiece. Erick Landon is an excellent writer. So I don't know. I'm just not there yet. I can give you advice as a YouTuber because I'm 92,000 subscribers and I have this successful channel, right? But I'm not really a successful author, so giving advice is kind of weird for me. I don't know what to say. If I ever become successful, maybe I'll know, okay, what did I do with this book that it became so successful? And maybe I'll know, oh, I did this, and that. So that will be my advice. Thoughts on Live Alive? Well, I think it's a good game, but some of the stories might be either kind of boring or slow, or the difficulty might be kind of off. The cowboy, there's a cowboy story arc in there, and at the beginning it's pretty interesting because you gotta find this with a time limit, and it just, I don't know, that gameplay mechanic was pretty fun. But I remember that when the battle started, they beat the shit out of me, and if they beat the shit out of you, it's game over and do everything all over again. So Yeah, it's got stuff like that kind of it doesn't ruin the game, you know, but it's kind of like, man, I don't want to finish this character. So and then there's others that are pretty interesting, right? The old man looks like it's gonna be the most boring, but his arc, his story is the most traditional style, and I liked it a lot. It's a great game. I do recommend it, especially their remake. Are there any other JRPGs that's more storytelling than gameplay, like the Tales series? Trails. Trails is probably your best bet. Persona. Yeah, definitely. Yakuza Like a Dragon. More story. Xenosaga. I have a video called Top 10 Most Story-Driven JRPGs. It's got Cosmos from Xenosaga in the thumbnail. Look it up, and you get 10 amazing games in there. The Xenoblade games, they have a lot of scenes. Thank you, Humor. What are your thoughts on rumored Persona 3 remake using Persona 5 engine and combining features from both FES and Portable? That rumor needs to be fucking true. Like right now. Atlus needs to come out to the world and say it's a remake with the PSP 5 engine and with features from both FES and Portable. That's everybody's dream, hot dream, every Persona fanboy dream. I hope that rumor is true. If you could remove a modern game feature from JRPGs, what would it be? Okay, interesting question. For me, it's map with quest markers. Maps with quest markers? Why? It kills the magic of finding new worlds and exploring them by just telling you where to go. Okay, you have a point there, but I'm actually the kind of guy who prefers quest markers. I love that GPS system a lot of video games have come up with nowadays. I think that's one of my favorite features from JRPGs. But that's probably because I'm not the best. I'm not a big fan of exploring everything and finding out for myself. I kind of do that in real life. I don't need to do that in a video gaming. When it comes to video games, I mean, I used to be like you. I used to enjoy exploring way more back in the day. But nowadays, I just want the game to tell me where I need to go, and there you go. But anyway, to your question, one feature that I could remove from modern JRPGs. What I will remove from modern JRPGs, I think I was talking about this in an earlier clip, with an earlier question, but I will remove as many stupid-ass cliches and tropes as I can. Yeah, and the kind that are like, man, this is done to death already. Why would you keep doing this freaking cliche, right? But I'm thinking with your question, you are referring more to gameplay mechanics. And one gameplay mechanic I've seen a lot of modern JRPGs do, and I don't kind of like it, is the fact, well, not a lot of JRPGs actually, not a lot of them. In fact, it's the exact opposite. But take the remasters of Trails from Zero and Azure. Once you choose the difficulty setting at the beginning, you cannot change it ever again. So if you pick normal and the game's too fucking easy, what are you gonna do? I mean, you can't change the difficulty anymore. What's up with that? Or if you picked easy because you were afraid, like, oh man, this game sounds like it's gonna be hard, so I'm gonna play it on easy, and it ends up being a walk in the park. Or if you choose hard and you realize it's too fucking hard, what are you gonna do? You're fucked. And yes, this used to be JRPGs back in the 90s, you know. Most of them didn't have difficulty settings, but some of them did, and you can change it. And that's been carrying over. It's barely done nowadays. So in 8 out of 10 JRPGs nowadays, you can change the difficulty at any given time. That's fine. But what about the other two? So I don't know. Changing difficulty settings should be... Being able to change difficulty settings should be on every single JRPG in existence. That's what I will get rid of, you know, that penalty, that block in there. And another thing that I will get rid of is that sometimes, I know it's difficult nowadays to make a battle system original. Everything's been done and overdone. Battle systems are a cliche in itself. but sometimes developers want to be overly creative. You know, it's okay to do something simpler. It's okay, you don't have to go overboard with overly complicated mechanics. I like complex battle systems. I mean, most of you watched my top 10 complex JRPGs. There were a lot of games in there that are just stupidly complicated, but I love them. You know, but others are like, man, like Natural Doctrine. I was like, what the fuck did these guys want to do? What the hell were they trying to do with this game? They didn't know what they were trying to do. And it shows. And the game was a massive failure. So stuff like that, you know, I will ask developers to be creative and original, sure, but just don't overdo it. Okay? But little stuff like the thing you mentioned about map markers. Here's another one. Some JRPGs, and you've seen me complaining about this in multiple videos, a lot of side quests, or at least a couple of side quests, or at least a couple of mini games are forced on you. And well, the majority of them are kind of easy. I remember there's a forced fishing minigame in Trails from Zero, or in the original Nier and Nier Replicant. Yeah, you gotta fish, otherwise the story doesn't advance. You gotta complete that stupid minigame. But it's kinda easy. The one in Nier is kinda easy. It's like, man, it's a walk in the park. But my point is that it shouldn't be forced on the player. Side content, optional stuff forced on the player. I mean, that's something that a lot of modern JRPGs do, and I will definitely get rid of that. Let me complete the main story if I fucking want to. Do not force your freaking minigames or side quests on me. But the worst, and I made a rant video about this, the worst thing that I would get rid of from modern JRPGs, it's the true ending bullshit. I fucking hate that. The true ending should be the canon ending. And then add a million fucking different endings, dark endings if you want to make them appealing for the player to do all different things, you know, side quests, mini games, or whatever, you know. But the true ending should be the canon ending, the one that anybody can achieve in any difficulty, right? I fucking hate true endings, man. It's just, man, they're ridiculous. That was a good question, man. Thanks. You got a lot of answers. The first two Yakuza games, which came out on PS2, already have remakes on PS4. Oh man, I didn't know that, man. Thanks. PS3 games all got remasters on PS4. So you can play all main games on PS4. I didn't know that, man. Thanks. I didn't know they got remasters. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do just that, you know. Yeah, I want to give the first Yakuza another chance. See if I can get into it. Yeah, a lot of people, going back to the true ending stuff, a lot of people love the true endings. I respect that. I don't. If you like that shit, that's cool. I just don't like it, you know, because I don't know, I'm playing a video game and I'm putting through all the adventure just to get a bad ending. I mean, it's just frustrating. Real life is frustrating enough. Like, I just made a bad decision, one of the worst decisions I've made in my life, and I can't undo that, right? So why would you do that in a video game? Video games are for fun, are entertainment, you know. That's just my perspective, you know. I'm not trying to say I'm right and you're wrong. You guys like true endings? Good for you. I mean, there's a reason why they are a thing nowadays, because most people like them. I just saw your new cabinet for your CDs. This cabinet is old as fuck. It's been there for like 3 years. It just barely features in my videos. It's been featured in a lot of videos, actually, yeah. It's been there in some videos. The latest I remember is the Uta Wareru Mono. I just took everything out and put a lot of games in there. The Uta Wareru Mono review video. I don't know, I don't listen to CDs anymore. I just listen to random favorite tracks or old tracks. I don't think I have a CD that I listen to often, but my favorite CD album of all time is The Fragile by 9 Inch Nails. That's my favorite album ever. I made a video on my 10 favorite albums, music albums, on my second channel. I remember, like 2 years ago or 1 year ago. I don't remember. Where did you get that Nier t-shirt? This t-shirt or the Emil t-shirt? I think it was in AC Games in Canada. It's a store downtown in Toronto. I think Canadians pronounce it as Toronto. A and C Games. A and C Games. I think it's the store's name. I bought it there for like $15. 20 Canadian dollars, I think. Yeah. It's all right now. I mean, that's something that happened like 3.5 years ago. So yeah, it's old. It's an old t-shirt. But not that old, but old. The biggest frustration with True Ending was Bravely Default 2. You had to beat the game twice before getting the true ending. Holy shit, man. Really? I never beat that game. And I was planning to one day. Fuck. No, man. That's the ultimate bull. That's Ghosts and Goblins bullshit. Ghosts and Ghosts level of bullshit. Wow. You have to beat an RPG, a 30, 40, 50 hour long video game to get the true ending. Really? Holy fucking hell, man. Wow. If that's true, that's the ultimate bullshit. Oh my god. Eric, did you ever watch Pan's Labyrinth by Del Toro? Yes, I think that's his best movie. The one with the creature that got nominated for a lot of Oscars. I don't remember the name. It's a water creature living in isolation in a research center. And the girl falls in love with this creature. I thought it was a good movie, but it's overrated. Pan's Labyrinth is by far the best Guillermo del Toro movie of all time, in my opinion. Because I also watched Pinocchio, his version of Pinocchio, and it was good. But once again, they keep changing a lot of things from the book. And I know the book is fucked up. It was supposed to be a book for kids back then, but it's messed up. It's a messed up book. You read it and you're like, what? The Pinocchio book. And Guillermo del Toro's vision on Pinocchio is good. It's solid. I like the movie, but it's just like that's del Toro's Pinocchio, not the real Pinocchio. Anyway, Nier Automata t-shirt. I don't have one. I think I can get one. I can get Persona 5. I mean, you can get any t-shirt. I can get a Suikoden t-shirt, and I want a Suikoden t-shirt. I want a Fire Emblem t-shirt, but I gotta contact a company and have it made, have the logo printed, and then go and pick it up, and maybe they can send it to me to my house. That's a lot of money, and I'm like, man, I don't really care that much about t-shirts. Oh man, you see, I knew there was a catch. You trolled me. Union Gamer. You don't need to play through 2 more times from the beginning of Bravely Default 2, but rather you make a save right before boss and then explore the world more. Oh man. Go to hell, man. I thought you needed to play the game from scratch, like replay it full again. That will be like man, that was fuck. Oh, a lot of games do that. I mean, Dragon Quest XI does that, I think. I mean, to get the true ending, you need to complete the post-game, which is stupidly hard. But anyway, Spike Chunsoft did it the best with the true ending. Oh, but that's a visual novel. Zero Escape Trilogy. I mean, you can't compare replaying a visual novel twice just to get the true ending to an RPG, man. Unless that RPG is like Muramasa, like 10 hours long or 5 hours long. Do you have any anime figures? No. I think the only one that you've probably seen before is the Quistis figure from Final Fantasy VIII. Final Fantasy VIII is probably somewhere around that. There's a Velociraptor from Jurassic Park over there. One from Venom from Spider-Man. I don't really have anime figures. I don't really care for them. Hey Kichi, I didn't do the video. I was going to. I'm pretty sure it's a Mandela effect. I've never done that video, but I want to do it. Top 10 JRPGs I regret recommending. Okay? That was a long time ago, and yes, Dark Rose Valkyrie was there. is going to be there, but I never made the video. I swear. I got an East 3 t-shirt and Persona 5 shirt. Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, but I live in Mexico and Walmart doesn't have JRPG t-shirts. With luck, you might find that Final Fantasy t-shirt. And I will be a hypocrite to wear Final Fantasy, unless it's Final Fantasy 9 t-shirt. I don't know. Would you consider trying Yokai Watch 3? It improves the gameplay, story, and setting drastically compared to the original without having to play its predecessors. Oh, it's a standalone story? Maybe, but it's just the idea of collecting cute little creatures and have them fight, and I just don't find that appealing. It's the idea of... It's not the game, it's the idea that I don't find appealing. That's why I don't play Pokemon, you know. I don't know, I tried a lot of Pokemon games and I found them boring. Yeah, there's a Nier anime, but it's the same story as in the game. If you play the game and watch the anime, I mean, you're basically replaying the game. I don't know if I would wear a Persona 5 t-shirt. I love the freaking game. But I kind of wanna wear a Persona 3 t-shirt instead. And right now I'm using a lot of money for this house, right? So I'm not gonna buy t-shirts right now. Thank you, Sheldon Kruger. I started Is Odin Felgana on normal. R.I.P. RIP. I'm thinking you started the North American release, right? Because the European release, the European version of Is Odin Felgana on normal is pretty easy. But yeah, on the North American version on normal is fucking hard. You can do it, man. I beat the game on easy. I gave up. I was like, man, I'm never gonna beat this game on normal. I beat it on easy. There's a very easy mode too, but I don't think I tried it. I don't think so, but yeah, I beat it on easy. Normal is pretty challenging. What JRPG game would you love Trent Reznor to make music for? I don't know, a brand new Xeno game. Well, a brand new JRPG, not from any series. It'll have to be like one of those fucked up, super fucked up and, you know, dark and bizarre JRPGs with music by Trent Reznor. That will be amazing. But yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just a new Xeno game with his music would make it very different. I don't know, if we're talking about any JRPG series in particular, the next game, I would love the next game in that series to have Trent Reznor music. I don't know, man, that's a good question. I would prefer a brand new original game. Brand new JRPG. I don't know. Persona 6 with 9 Inch Nails music. There you go. Maybe a Shin Megami Tensei game will probably be the best. A new Shin Megami Tensei 6 with music by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Or straight up 9 Inch Nails, you know. Remake Xenosaga, you cowards. Yeah, fuck, goddammit Bandai Namco. So it's okay to remaster Baten Kaitos? I love Baten Kaitos and I'm happy for the remaster, but it's not okay to remaster Xenosaga? Or the older Tales games? I mean, what's up? I mean, the mentality there, right? I mean, why would you give... I'm not complaining, but I'm just questioning. Why would you give preference to an obscure game over a popular game? I don't know. What made them remaster Baten Kaitos before Xenosaga? I mean, that's just weird, but okay. I love Baten Kaitos. Not complaining. Persona 6 with 9 Inch Nails music is just SMT. What is your opinion? What is your opinion on the Hyperdimension Neptunia series? It's not a good opinion, man. Let me tell you that. Are you going to see the D&D movie? D&D, I imagine you mean Dungeons and Dragons? Whenever I see D&D, I think of Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know, man. I probably won't. I probably won't because it's probably gonna be like woke. with politically correct people and all that trash. Are you still watching the Cold Steel anime? Nope. I have a Crunchyroll installed on my Roku TV that you can see right there, and but you gotta pay for everything now. I don't know why. It used to, a lot of anime series used to be free on Crunchyroll, but I don't know what the hell happened. I can't watch anything at all. Only the first episode of some anime series, and that's it. It let me watch the first episode of Nier Automata and the first episode of the Legend of Heroes anime, but I couldn't watch the second one because they were asking me to create a premium account and fucking pay, and I was like, no man, I'm not gonna do that. How about top 10 story-driven JRPGs part 2? Problem is that the first video didn't do, I mean, it wasn't exactly what I will call a success. I mean, it was partially successful, it did alright, but it just doesn't merit a part 2. Like, I need that first video to be more popular. So, I don't think it's gonna happen. Maybe. Because it's hard to do. Maybe I'll do it, I don't know. But, I think you guys, I think you guys sometimes wonder why I don't do part 2 on some successful videos, but why I do part 2 on some not so successful videos. But I remember the epic JRPG boss battles video, the most epic JRPG boss battles. That was a failure of a video, but I'm still gonna do a part 2. But the difference is because these videos are not so hard to do. I mean, the list is kind of hard to do, but the editing, I just need to show one boss fight in the entire clip, right? Or maybe the same boss fight with different characters, I don't know. And, yeah. I'm that kind of guy, I'm fucking weird. Why I do some part 2s and why I don't do others, I don't know. And also, one of the reasons is because I think some videos, it's not like they don't deserve a part 2. It's more like I just don't think it's a good idea, or I don't have a lot of... I can't come up with a second list. I mean, story-driven I can come up with, but others are just not. Like, I don't know, what's the point of making mature-rated videos? Mature-rated JRPGs. I mean, that was an overly successful video. Same with the heavily censored JRPGs video. Remember that? Heavily censored part 2 will probably be a good idea. Mature part 2, I don't think so. I'd rather do a mature hidden gems JRPG video. How about that? Something different. And some videos, you may not realize that have a sequel. They have a part 2, it's just not called part 2. But yeah, the reality is that 9 out of 10 part 2s fail as opposed to the part 1. Not all of them. You know, I remember the Aged Well video. Part 2 was more successful than Part 1, ironically. Yeah. Anyway, going back to the modern, I mean, the story-driven JRPGs Part 2, maybe. But I kind of need the first one to get more views, because it's been a couple of years since I did it. Or at least a year and a half, something about... When was that video? Give me 1 second. Story-driven JRPGs. It was 9 months ago. It's not even a year old. And it has 42,000 views. Okay. Let me think about it. Maybe I'll do a part 2. Maybe. It's been 9 years. Anyway, did you watch Chainsaw Man? No, I really wanted to watch it. I really wanted to watch that anime, but I couldn't because Crunchyroll wants my money. I think people didn't watch the boss videos because of spoilers. Yeah, I figured. Even before I planned the video and I wrote the script, I knew it wasn't going to be very successful because of that, because people are just not going to watch it. Hey man, I mean, and there were some spoiler bosses. I didn't explain anything about the story. I didn't say, hey, this boss appears when this happens. No. You know, but I kind of knew because of the spoilers, a lot of people wouldn't watch that video. That's okay. I wasn't expecting the video to be successful, but I just want to make it's just easy to do. The list is hard to do, but the editing and the script writing, I mean, the scripting is kind of easy to do. And it's a fun series. I mean, why not? I'll make another one this year. I would love hentai RPG series. Oh man, yeah. You guys love your hentai, don't you? I've only played one hentai game in my entire life, and it never came out of Japan, obviously. It's called DV Dead. It's a visual novel on the PSP, and the story was pretty good. Despite the stuff in there, the sex stuff in there, the story was pretty good. I was like, man, it's pretty good. That's the only one. It's called DV Dead. Got a fan translation. Are you willing to make content purely from a documentary point of view, so people in the future have a reference they can rely on, even if the video doesn't make your expectations? You know what? I don't know if you remember the 10 Things You Didn't Know About series. That was kind of like my attempt at some kind of documentary. I know what you're asking, you know, like to pretty much make a video, a Chrono Cross documentary, you know? It needs a lot of research, it needs a lot of work, and if it doesn't meet my expectations, you know, I'm gonna feel like I wasted a lot of work and effort into something that wasn't successful. Plus, I just don't feel like writing documentary style videos right now. Maybe I will in the future. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, the series that I did a long time ago, I was a freaking amateur with a poor equipment. But the What the Hell Happened To series, remember that? That was kind of like the same, like my way of making a documentary type of video on a video game, on a JRPG. And the 10 Things You Didn't Know About was the same, was kind of like my approach to fill the viewer with information about the game, with background on how the game was created, how the game was developed, why this happened, the controversies surrounding it, stuff like that. But half of those videos were a failure. People just don't care to watch them. So what I'm trying to say is that I think people don't come looking for me when it comes to documentary type of videos. People come here because of the top 10s, the reviews, the rankings, the tier lists, right? Not the documentary type of video. I would love to make a documentary based on Chrono Cross, Xenogears, Valkyrie Profile, you know, stuff like that, but I don't think a lot of people will watch me making that particular type of content. I'd love to, but I don't think it's gonna happen, not anytime soon. And before you ask if the 10 Things You Didn't Know About series is coming back, it'll probably come back. Maybe I just think a couple of videos per year is enough, because again, it's not the type of content most of my viewers want to watch from me. I've never played the Fate Stay Night visual novel hentai games. I've seen them on images on Google, you know, but I've never played them. Harada said that Namco had plans to remaster Xenosaga. Yeah, I know that. They made a poll and it failed. So they made a poll on Baten Kaitos and it succeeded, but not on Xenosaga. I mean, what a bunch of fucking hypocrites. They just don't want to remaster 3 games that were artistically done by someone else. Problem with Xenosaga, or more like what might be the problem with Xenosaga, is that every game had a different graphic engine. That's what's probably getting them in trouble. That's what's probably preventing them from really working on it, because they know remastering Xenosaga 1, 2, and 3 is harder than Baten Kaitos or some Tales games. I'm not that baffled about Xenosaga. I'm more baffled about the Tales games, Fantasia, Destiny, Eternia. I mean, Eternia aged it aged well, it aged decently, but Destiny did not. And the original Fantasia versions did not. And the only version we got in North America was the shitty Game Boy Advance port. So, I mean, Fantasia is the one Bandai Namco video game that I want remastered or remade the most. And then they can release the other ones that never came out of Japan. Tales of Destiny 2, the real one. Tales of Fantasia Narikiri Dungeon, Tales of Rebirth. That's a main title, for fuck's sake. And then Xenosaga. Do you go to comic conventions at your state? I used to go more as an artist. I had a table, and I stopped going because they started charging insane prices for being there, like stupid prices for. I'm like, man. But I went to a lot of anime shows and gaming conventions to sell my books with an artist table. But I stopped doing that. And plus, that scene kind of died off here in Mexico. COVID hit pretty hard in terms of anime shows. That there's only like a couple of them, maybe 5 a year, when there used to be like 15 a year, even the smaller ones. And nowadays, there's barely any comic shows here in Guadalajara, where I live. And they're not really worth attending to, not even for game hunting. And even if they were, I wouldn't go because I moved very far from where those shows take place. So, yeah. They're all far away from where I live. The very few ones that are still standing, they're very far away from where I live right now. Destiny got remade for PS2 only in Japan. That's right. Yeah, that's right. It got a remake in Japan. You're right. What the hell's going on here with the music? Here we go. I think this is from Octopath Traveler 2. Yeah. Yeah, right? I'll get to Octopath pretty... not that soon, but I'll get to it because it's on PS4. The Switch version never came out. I got my copy because it was a gift from an ex-fan. Well, I don't know if she still watches the videos, but yeah. The point is that Octopath Traveler, the first one, the only original version, the only physical version it has is on the Switch. And it's still freaking expensive. It's still a $60 game, $50 game. So Octopath 2, I'll probably get my hands on it because it's on PS4, and PS4 version is just bound to go down eventually. It's a Square Enix game. It'll probably go down in a year or so, and I'll get it. But I made my review based on the first 10 hours of the game, and I think that's enough. It was a pretty successful review. It is already my second most popular review that I've done in my entire YouTube career. And so I'm not gonna... I don't feel... if I get the game, it's for my own pleasure. As a hobby, I don't need the game anymore for my job. If I get it, I'm gonna wait like 6 months and make a video called "Is Octopath Traveler 2 really worth playing?" Or maybe I'll include it in a 5 RPGs I need to talk about episode. I don't know. Eric, you have a video game store, right? No, I have in the past. I shut it, closed down probably 5 years ago. 5 years? Oh, wow. Yeah, wow, exactly 5 years ago. I don't have a store anymore. I saw Octopath 1 go for $40. It's still kind of expensive if you think about it. Octopath 1 on Steam! Digital is still $60. Digital! Ah, man. Happened with 13 Sentinels. PS4 is the best deal. There you go, that's right. It just happens, man. I remember when 13 Sentinels came out, it was kind of hard to find, and everywhere you looked, it was $40, $40, $50. And then the Switch version came out, and bam! The PS4 version went down considerably, and I've seen it for like $25, $20 already. I got it like a few months after its release. It was on sale for like $35. I got it. I mean, I got it back then. $35 for that game back then was a steal. But yeah, I mean, nowadays it's dirt cheap, and it's very recommended. Was your store in Mexico or USA? In Mexico. I've never been in the USA in my life. I've been in England, Germany for a few days only, vacation. I've been in Canada and in Mexico. I've never been to the US, and my store was in Mexico. People say if you get sponsored for your videos won't get demonetized. No, they do get demonetized no matter what. If a video is bound to get demonetized because of the swearing or because of the naughty stuff or because of whatever, even if you get a sponsor, you get demonetized. But you already made money thanks to the sponsor because they pay you before you make the little video. I don't want to do sponsorship because number one, I don't need to. Number two, I didn't create this YouTube channel so I could advertise other people's products or companies' products. I just don't want to do that. But maybe, maybe one day I'll be forced or I'll have the need to do that. Maybe. But for now, no sponsorship whatsoever. Which JRPG have you 100% completed? Or you are a master at playing them? I don't think I'm a master in anything, any video game whatsoever. But the very few JRPGs that I've completed in my life 100% are Chrono Cross. Sorry about that. That's Project Cross Zone music. Cross Zone. Chrono Cross, Grow Lancer Heritage of War, Valkyrie Profile 2 Silmeria. I don't know if we could consider the Suikoden games because I've gotten all characters in all of them. I think the only one that I haven't done that I haven't completed 100% is Suikoden 4, but 1, 2, 3, and 5 I got all characters and I did a lot of trading, I did a lot of side stuff. So I have no idea if that could be considered as completed, but maybe. I mean, you tell me. And then there's Devil Survivor, only the first one. I think I got all the endings, all the routes, and everything. Super Mario RPG is another one that I think I got it 100%. Everything, even the Yoshi minigame. And the super boss with Final Fantasy IV music. That was badass. Hard motherfucker. That's it, I think. Well, what's there to do in games like Project Cross Zone 1 and 2? Besides playing the main story, it doesn't have any side quests. So, do those games count? If we're talking about JRPGs, there are, believe it or not, with no side quests, like this one, like Project Cross Zone. Yeah, what else is there to do but the main story? Right? So yeah, I completed those two, right? Hey, no sponsorship, much respect. Thanks, man. Yeah, I just don't feel like sitting down and, hey, this new phone came out today and it's like this and like that. And I mean, you do get paid a lot, especially by the big companies. But I just don't want to do that, man. I'll do it when I consider it necessary. At some point in my career, maybe I'll start making less money, or I don't know. Right now, I have no need, so therefore I don't want to. But more like what I'm trying to say is that I'll never do it unless I need to. Have you played Fragile Dreams for the Wii? Yes, I did. I never finished it. I only put a couple of hours into it, got 2 boss fights. It's a pretty interesting game. A lot of people call it an RPG. It does have RPG elements. And I've covered it in this channel. I think I included the game on my Hidden Gems with RPG Elements video. It's a good game, but I don't know. I just don't think it aged that well. It's not that old. It's like 15 years old. Probably more. I think it came out in 2010, right? 2010. I don't remember. It's not that old, but it's just the controls feel kind of stiff. And the game progression is kind of weird, because often you don't know what to do or where to go. It's a good game, don't take me wrong, but I don't know, I never finished it. Are Fire Emblem games connected? Barely. Most of them are not, they are all standalone. But there are some that are kind of connected, but there's like, for example, I think Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon, which is a remake of the very first Fire Emblem ever. It takes place like 1,000 years before Fire Emblem Awakening. Stuff like that. I mean, the answer is actually no. They're not really connected. You can play just and there are some sequels in there. Fire Emblem 1 and 2, for example. 2 is a direct sequel to 1, so you do need to play the first one to understand the second one. Same with Genealogy of the Holy War, and then Thracia. Thracia is a sequel. And then there's Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn. Those are sequels to one another. Radiant Dawn is a direct sequel. There's no point in playing Radiant Dawn without having played Path of Radiance first. That's because they're sequels. I mean, and the developers tell you, everybody tells you this is a sequel. But I don't know, take Fire Emblem Engage, nothing to do with other games. It just features heroes from the previous games and that's it. Fates, same thing, not connected to any game. Awakening, I just told you, and the connection is barely there. I mean, it's just irrelevant. Just because Lucina appears dressed up as Marth. I don't know, that's it. The Sacred Stones, no connection whatsoever. Blazing Sword has a sequel that came out before, but it's only in Japan. So in conclusion, I guess I was wrong, half of them are connected. But only to one game. That's it. I guess what you're trying to ask if the series is like the Trails series, and no. Some are connected to one game and that's it, but the series itself, most of them are standalone. Shadow Dragon and Awakening have a connection. Yeah, that's what I was saying, that Shadow Dragon takes place like 1,000 years before, but that's about it. You don't need to play Shadow Dragon to play Awakening. Ys 8 and 9 are so easy to 100%. I don't know about Ys 8, because all I did was recruit all characters, all castaways, but I didn't do side quests in there, barely did anything. With Ys 9, I did a lot of side content and I did a lot of stuff. I didn't complete it 100%, but I guess I got close. That's really hard to believe, Yum Yum. But if you did that for that amount of money, if you bought those games for that amount of money, that's awesome. Persona 5 Strikers for $5 doesn't surprise me, considering it's a game that's nowadays goes for like $10 to $15 used. 20 sealed on Amazon. Persona 5 Royal is going down on PS4, but Fire Emblem Three Houses for $5, that's a steal, man. If that's true, congratulations. Are you excited for Ys 10? Yes, I am. Even though we've only seen a bunch of screenshots, and man, I need a trailer to get me pumped up. Of course I know Ys 4 Dawn of Ys. Ys 4 got 2 releases, one done by Falcom and one done by Hudson Soft. And Falcom was never satisfied with that. They weren't big fans of the game they had themselves developed. That's why many years later, Ys 4 got remade into Memories of Salsetta, which we saw on the PS Vita, and now it's on PS4 and Steam. No Switch version, I think. So yeah, there you go. I know the game, and I played a little bit. I played a Japanese release, not the fan-translated version of the original Ys 4. It was kind of boring at the beginning. I didn't get very far because it was in Japanese. In fact, I didn't get far at all. I think I played it for like 30 minutes and gave up. Yeah, Salsetta is the true Ys 4. And I'm not saying that based on my opinion, though that's straight out of the horse's mouth. Falcom said Ys 4. The true Ys 4 is Memories of Salsetta. Okay, I'm starting to collect Tales games. For Symphonia, what do you recommend? The PS3 version that includes 1 and 2? Get the GameCube and Wii versions, or wait for the Switch version to get fixed? I can't speak for the Switch version because I haven't played it, but I owned in the past the GameCube version and I sold it, and then I got the PS3 version with 1 and 2. I will buy that because I'm pretty sure it's kind of cheap nowadays, right? I don't know how much it goes for, the physical version, but if it's cheap, I will go for that one. You get 2 games in one, and Symphonia 2, I don't care how many people hate it out there, I fucking love it. I like it more than the original Symphonia. I see people sending book reviews by good famous authors. Do you plan on trying to some publisher? I I don't like publishers because most of them are the famous ones are politically correct. If you write stuff that can offend someone, they don't publish your book. Plus, there's no point in trying the publishing houses. The publishing houses here in Mexico, they all kind of suck, and it's the same deal. And I tried before. I sent The Reaper's Thorn to 2 publishers. One of them never replied, and the other one straight up said no. We're currently not interested in this book. Fuck them. Plus, I mean, the ups and downs of publishing houses. The up is that you don't have to take care of advertisement. They do everything for you, and you may get a small 1% chance of getting famous and popular. Well, the down is that they control the rights. They can do whatever the fuck they want with your book and control it. And I don't like that, I hate that, feeling like someone controls my creation. Man, I couldn't live with that. This is the Rhapsody battle theme. Yes, it is. Rhapsody 2 coming soon for the first time. Because Rhapsody is a series we only got the first one. And the other 2 games stayed in Japan forever until now. I mean, I think the second one is getting a release this year. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be published by NIS America. So I'll probably ask for a review code. And I'll probably get it. And definitely I'll review it. So there's Rhapsody 1, 2, and 3, man. What happened to that JRPG show? Well, that JRPG show kinda died. I don't think it was a good idea. Well, it was a good idea, but I just wasn't the best host for it. That's why the show died. There were a lot of troubles, a lot of problems. Maybe it will come back one day, but in the form of a podcast. But the show itself, I mean, the idea of the show was to get people in there, right? But it's kind of hard to get them. And well, if you've probably forgotten that I went to someone tried to cancel me. So a lot of people sided with that guy. And I was like, man, so what am I gonna do now? I'm gonna live in fear if I ask someone to join. Hey, would you like to be a guest in the JRPG show? And I mean, it just put me in an uncomfortable position. But not only that, even if that drama hadn't occurred, it was just a pain in the ass to reach to YouTubers. Most of them wanted to say yes, but to get them, the show was live, you notice, right? And to get them to match their schedule to yours, that's a pain in the ass. And people are busy, man. They have lives. And the show was supposed to be every Sunday, one Sunday a month, and at 12 p.m. Central Time. But people have different schedules and they live in different countries, so it was just a pain in the ass, man. It was like, man, I want to get this guy on Sunday, but he can't, or she can't, and she can only do it at night, or it will have to be pre-recorded, and man. And then I had a lot of technical issues with the show, audio getting fucked up. It was just a mess. So I don't know if that JRPG show will come back, because I loved it. It was awesome, sharing these tops and discussions with other YouTubers. But number one, I don't know who to trust anymore. And number two, I don't think I'm a good host. I'm just not used to interviewing people. Hell, I'm not even used to people interviewing me. So that interaction right there, it's awkward for me. I don't know. I enjoy it, but it's kind of uncomfortable and weird. I just don't have what it takes, I think. Thank you, Mark. I beat Cold Steel 1 and 2 and beat Trails in the Sky 1. Started 2, but getting burned out. Any recommendations? You should have started with Trails in the Sky 1 and maybe wait a little bit until 2. The best thing I can recommend is just wait. Wait a bit, man. If you're burned out, wait a bit. Because if you beat those 3 games in a row, wow. I've never done that, I played all the Trails games separately. I think the only one that I beat in a row was Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2, like you. I beat I beat the first one and jumped straight into the second one. But all the others, I played them separately. Trails from Zero and Asher, I think I also played them in a row, but I think I played another game in between. So my recommendation is just play a couple of games, play other JRPGs, and then come back to Sky second chapter. The Chrono Cross remaster finally got patched. Oh, really? Have you tried it since then? How amazing it runs. 60 frames per second in battles and 30 on the field fixed. That's amazing, man. Yeah, I heard about the patch. I am so glad I waited because I never beat it on the Switch. I have it on the I think I have it on the PS4 digitally. So was that version patched too? Or was it only the Switch version? Will you make the PS4 JRPG tier list soon? Or will you wait till PS4 gets finally deprecated? The latter. I can't make a tier list because the point of making a tier list on a console is to rank every single JRPG released in North America. Every single one of them, no exceptions. So yeah, PS4 I'm gonna wait. Are you planning for something new when you reach 100,000 subscribers? Yeah, I think I'm planning. I don't think people give a shit about anniversaries. I've celebrated it before, and it didn't look like people gave a shit. So, but 100k is kind of a big deal. So I'll definitely do something. I just don't know what. I thought the show was a great idea. Oh, that JRPG show. Will you consider reviving it with fans on a live call? No, I don't think that's a good idea. Because fans are just the same as YouTubers. One day you can be cool with someone, and then something happens and that someone is no longer cool with you, right? So, yeah. That JRPG show, I don't think it's going to come back ever in the form it was. I would like to maybe find a co-host. That will be better for me. To find a partner I can trust and make the show with that guy or with that girl, with that person, That's what I would like to do. To have a friend. And I had one, it was Oscar. And we weren't exactly doing a podcast, and it was in Spanish. We tried a few podcasts actually, but they never worked. But Oscar just became too busy to continue with the channel, and it just died. And that JRPG show could probably come back in the same format, but let's just say that I haven't found that person. And that's it. Thank you, Awat Khalid. Just want to thank you for your videos. They help me to navigate in the vast world of JRPGs. You're welcome, and thanks. Oh wow, listen to this track. Do you guys recognize this track? Yeah, somebody there. And then that's Persona 3. Yeah, that's from Resident Evil, the first one. That's the save room. Place in the save rooms. It's awesome. No, it's not Parasite Eve. Resident Evil, the first one. And then this song. I hate this kind of music. I fucking hate this kind of music, guys, but this song... could be a story saving Private Oscar. Have you ever played Metroid Prime? No, I don't like first person games. I played the original version, the 2D ones. All versions of Chrono Cross are patched. It's not exactly a remake, it's a remaster, but okay, I'll give it a try. Have you played The Legend of Heroes 3, 4, and 5? Are you talking about A Tear of Vermilion, Prophecy of the Moonlight Witch, and A Song of the Ocean? If that, then yes, and I beat them. And they aren't the best JRPGs out there, but they're solid games. They're okay. A Tear of Vermilion is the best one. The other two are okay JRPGs. They are a C. A C. Did you ever play Muramasa the Demon Blade? Yes, I did. I played it on the Wii and then I played it on the Vita. I finished the Vita version. Amazing game. I wish it could have been longer. Amazing game, man. I'm a die-hard Vanillaware fan. I love everything about that company. All games. What do you think of Illusion of Gaia and Terranigma? I've never beaten either of them, but I think they're pretty solid games, kind of forgotten. They deserve some kind of comeback. Remake, remaster, whatever. Maybe just a straight-up port. Maybe, at the very least, put them on the Switch emulator. You know, the Super Nintendo emulator in there. Right? Especially Terranigma, it never came out of Europe and Japan. Never came to North fucking America. What do you think about Persona 2 Eternal Punishment? I never beat it. I don't know if you watched... I made a video, I think... Wait. Speaking about Persona 2, this is from Innocent Sin. The music. The other Persona 2. So, I talked about Persona 2 in a recent video called Top 10 Most Underestimated JRPGs. And I think I remember saying in that video that I never got past the mission where you have to escape the Sky Museum. You start at the top and you gotta escape, and because it's going to explode, a bomb is there. And they give you 30 minutes. But there's random encounters. And the timer never stops, not even with the dialogue. It never fucking stops. I think they fucked that up, that point, man. Persona 2 Eternal Punishment deserves a remake. Or a remaster where they can fix stuff like that. I mean, that was a bad idea in my opinion. You got a timer. A time limit to run away to escape. And it doesn't stop when the characters are talking. And Persona 2 is not a game where you can just keep dialogue, you know, and click faster, you know. They need to load the font, and then it's just, what the hell, Atlus? What the hell happened there? I never got past that, but I think it's a good game. For its time, it was a classic. It didn't age well, unfortunately, not for me. So I'm hoping for some kind of remaster or remake, or I don't know, man, but I'm not sure if I can safely recommend Persona 2 nowadays. Did you ever trash Dark World's Valkyrie in one of your videos? No, but in a previous Q&A, I think I remember saying that I played it and that I just didn't find it good anymore. And I made a post on my community section saying that game I thought had been great during the first couple of hours, and then it went shit. Because I re-uploaded the old Let's Play I did on that game on my second channel about 2 weeks ago. Do you prefer old Fire Emblem or modern Fire Emblem? Old Fire Emblem, definitely. Not a single modern Fire Emblem is on my top 5 favorite Fire Emblem games. Last questions, guys. Out of all the JRPGs you've played, which boss or super boss did you have the hardest time with or were never able to beat? Shiva from Shin Megami Tensei 5. Not even on easy mode, not even with my characters at level 97. I never beat that motherfucker. But the one that I did and had a lot of trouble with was the one in Super Mario RPG. Big guy with the crystals. And in Monster Town, and wow, fuck that guy. It's a secret boss, but yeah, that was a tough fight. I have a lot of trouble, you know. But I think I died. I must have died like 2 or 3 times at least before I finally beat it. And I had to grind a lot. Generation X Gamer, thanks. Devil Summoner Raidu Kusunoha remake. Yeah, maybe not remake, maybe just remasters. Anything. But yeah, those 2 games need to be on modern systems. So is Digital Devil Saga. Every single JRPG in existence needs to be remastered. Except Time and Eternity. That game can go to hell for the rest of eternity. This is Klonoa music. None of you would have been able to recognize it. Klonoa. Ever heard of Klonoa, guys? Any fans of Klonoa? Are there any games that you find yourself replaying? Some of them, you know, Might and Magic Clash of Heroes. That's one that I didn't replay the main story, but you can just play random battles. And I do that a lot with that game. I replayed Inside. I beat it for the second time a couple of weeks ago. Inside. Probably gonna get to Limbo and Little Nightmares 1 and 2 soon. If I feel like it. Yeah, most of the games that I find myself replaying are not RPGs. Unless I want to beat them twice in a row. I beat a lot of them twice in a row. Or unless, you know... I used to replay some of them back in the day because I wanted to complete them 100%, like Chrono Cross and Grow Lancer 5 and games like that, but not anymore. I haven't done that in a long time. But the games that I replay like often are not really RPGs. Most boring JRPG you ever played that everyone else likes to praise? That's a good question. Probably Dark Souls. I can't think of a better example than the Souls series. Bloodborne was awesome, but the Souls, man, fuck, man, I just, even if the games were easy or not as hard, I wouldn't play them anyway. I mean, I don't know, there's nothing about that game, those games that I find appealing. Nothing. I found Sekiro more appealing. But yeah, I mean, Dark Souls 1 and 2, I never tried the third one. Dark Souls 1 and 2, man, that's my answer. I mean, I find them really boring. Which Trails character you think is better in gameplay than story? Oh, there's a lot of them. For example, Elliot. Elliot in the Cold Steel series, I don't like that guy. He's kind of like just kind of there. He barely exists in there, Elliot, but he's a pretty useful unit in battle. Ulysses, for example, has he has his fans, but I think he's a fucking prick. And even though he gets some interesting development and opens up and whatever, and he stops being a bit of a prick, I don't know, I don't know. I don't like that character. But he can be pretty useful sometimes in battle. Gaius? No. It's Gaius, right? The guy from the tribes. What's that guy's name? Well, that guy. That guy's a badass in battle. A badass man. But I find that character pretty freaking boring. Like Elliot, he's just kinda there. Is it Gaius? Yeah, right? Anyway, guys, I think it's time for me to go. Well, a couple of more questions. I have no quarter with Bloodborne. Bloodborne is the only Souls game that I don't criticize. I never finished it, but I think it's a great game, an excellent game. No, I have nothing bad to say about Bloodborne. It did kind of bore me, because the formula of just getting 95% gameplay and 5% story kind of bored me, but Bloodborne, nothing but respect. Dark Souls, however, I think it's extremely overrated. Yeah, I've tried a couple of times, man, too. Yeah, I just couldn't get into it. What do you think about Mega Man X Command Mission? I think it's a good game. You know, it's nothing extraordinary, it's yet another Mega Man spin-off, but it's a turn-based RPG and I think it's pretty interesting. Yeah, not the best JRPG on PS2 or GameCube, but it's good enough. Well, it's one of the best in the GameCube, but that's only because the GameCube only had like 24 JRPGs released outside of Japan. I'd recommend Elden Ring, as you can get over level and it's the most... I don't know, man. I've seen footage and I find nothing of those games appealing. Bloodborne appealed to me because of the gothic 19th century Victorian era and the horror stuff, but the others feel like generic Western style RPGs to me, including Elden Ring. And I haven't even played it, just from what I've seen, feels that way. Yeah, like I said, I don't have a problem with the difficulty. It's just the fact that I don't find them appealing. Gaius is from Exilia 1 and 2. No, man, there's a character in the trails, he's called Gaius. His name is Gaius, there, Gaius Warcell. I knew I was right. You see? But nobody mentions the guy because he's that forgettable. He's a badass unit, but he's a very forgettable character in the Trail series. He's just there. Do you have any friends here in the Philippines? I have a couple of Patreons who are from there. I think Miyazaki changed gaming and people's mentality for the bad. It's just he created this hard RPGs culture and this elitism in gaming that it just wasn't there in the 90s. But anyway, not a fan of Miyazaki. I respect the guy, I respect the influence he created over the genre. That's it, guys, that's it for today. This was another lovely goddamn Q&A. As usual, I had a blast. Hope you guys had a good time. And I'll see you in 15 days for yet another goddamn Q&A. Thanks for watching, everybody. And thanks for the donations, guys.